Okay, I know for a fact that everyone has judged their nose or someone else's nose at least one time in their life.
I want this nose. I need this nose. I would pay to have this nose.
So I don't like how my tip is crooked this way and then this whole bump. I just want to take the whole nose off.
If only my nose was a little bit more narrow. If only I could get rid of this disgusting tip on my nose. If only my nose wasn't so crooked. The two main assets that everyone is obsessed with on their face is their lips and their nose, which I totally understand. Your nose, it's like the one thing that's dead smack in the middle of your face. But why is this such a pop culture trend to get a rhinoplasty? Like, how much worse is this gonna get? So first off, I want to address why getting a rhinoplasty is such a popular thing to do. And that's of course because of the media. 100% why trends are what they are is because of social media. So over the years of animation, cartoonists have really just defined and created their definition of what the perfect girl character is. Of course, big eyes, plump or small lips, and of course the cute button nose. I remember in the show Bratz, there were these two characters. They were twins, I believe. And one of them always had a bandage over their nose, which of course suggested that she was always getting her nose broken or she was always getting her nose done. They also had this happen in Clueless. These characters were created to either hate their nose or be the person who's always getting their nose done. Like, if you don't believe me, just take a look at any animated girl protagonist in a film or TV show. They all have a little cute button nose, especially in all the Disney movies. So let's talk about the main types of noses you can have. So first we have the fleshy nose. This is actually the most common nose shape in the entire world. About 25% of the population has this nose. Fleshy noses are large and protruding in shape, and they have more of a fatty proportion. Some well-known celebrities that have this nose are Albert Einstein and Prince Philip. Next, there's the hawk nose. This type of nose has a dramatic curved shape and a prominent bridge. It closely resembles the curved beak of an eagle, and it generally contributes to making your face shape more significant with a stronger personality. Oftentimes, I notice that they make the villains have this type of nose. Then we have the Greek nose or the straight nose. This nose has a remarkably straight bridge without any kind of humps or curves. This is only prevalent in about 3% of the population. Then there's the Roman nose, which resembles several ancient Roman sculptures. The bumpy nose, the Nixon nose, the bulbous nose, and the combo nose. So I actually didn't see the button nose in the list I was going off of, so I looked it up and I found out that having a button nose is the most rarest nose of them all. Not even 1% of the population has a button nose. The closest thing to a button nose is what's called a turned up nose, but even those types of nose are way off from being considered a button nose. Oftentimes, certain assets of your body parts or certain looks will be trending. Like how back in the day, pink was actually a masculine color and blue was actually made for women. So in Rome, when all these sculptures were made, their noses were these straight bulbous noses. Like literally the Roman nose was named after these sculptures. That was what was beautiful back then, and that was what was the desired nose. And now it's the complete opposite. Like, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. For the longest time, I would see people who have the straight nose or the Greek nose or whatever, and I would be like, wow, I'm really glad I don't have that nose. And it's really sad. It took me years to finally accept all noses and to realize that I can't let society conform me into thinking that a certain nose is better looking than any other nose. And half of the time, we don't even realize or care about other people's noses. Like, you know how some people will be like, well, I hate this part of my body, or I hate this part of my nose. Do you see how it turns up this way, or how it's crooked that way, and things like that? And I'll be looking at them and I'm like, I didn't even realize that in the first place, but now that you said that, it's like, now I notice it. We point out so many things within ourselves that no one is even paying attention to in the first place. So nowadays, everyone is getting their nose done, especially celebrities. And of course, if all you see are Instagram models and influencers having the perfect little button nose, then you're gonna feel more inclined to have that nose as well. There's this whole trend on TikTok of people changing their noses. All I had to do was look up nose job, and I was flooded with thousands and thousands of posts and videos of people on TikTok talking about about their noses and changing it. It feels as though everyone has gotten their nose done, but there actually are some celebrities that have never gotten their nose done, which is honestly so refreshing. For instance, Lady Gaga, she has a very straight and prominent nose, a nose that definitely does not fit in society standards. When I think of Lady Gaga, her nose has never crossed my mind ever. I feel like most of the time people are changing their nose for no reason because no one's even looking at your nose. Am I saying that you're wrong for getting a rhinoplasty? No, because I believe that it's your body, your choice. I just think it's sad that you feel so insecure about your nose that you feel the need to get it done because you don't see your life without changing your nose. Leah Michelle is another one who has never gotten a nose job. In an interview, she explained that she was one of the only ones in high school that has never gotten a nose job. When I think of her, again, her nose just doesn't come to mind at all. It's interesting because noses tell a lot about your ethnicity background and your ancestry, and noses are what makes us who we are and builds that character within your face. Like if we all changed our nose and had the cute button nose, then what would set us apart from being different? It's funny because while I was writing this video, I was at my desk, and my desk has the vanity, so I'm constantly looking up at my face and back down at the computer. I have never really liked my nose for the longest time, but after making this video, I've really come to terms with it, and I really don't have a problem with my nose anymore. I don't know, I've never had a problem with like the side of my nose, but I just hated the bridge of my nose because it always felt too big. But I'm just glad I can now have self-acceptance with the body I was born into. And I know people who have, say, darker skin like Rihanna or Beyonce, oftentimes they have what's called, I think, the Nubian nose or the African nose, and I believe that's what I have, so it took me a long time to have self-acceptance in my actual nose. And what makes me extremely frustrated about people who get their nose done is they wanted to change their nose in the first place because of a comment that someone made when they were younger or even when they were older, and it always stuck with them. They couldn't live with themselves anymore with that nose, and it's really sad. And of course, if you don't want to actually change your nose, you can always get a filter. I mean, these filters are becoming more and more realistic. If you take a picture for Instagram and you don't like it, just put a filter over it. If you take a video for Snapchat and you don't like your face, just put a filter on it, because the filters always make you look so perfect. It gets rid of your acne, it puts makeup on you, and it shrinks your nose down. And who doesn't want that? History is always repeating itself, and in 10 years, the Greek nose will be back in style. I mean, it really just depends on how society is feeling that day, just whether they choose to deem big noses hot or not. I think that we all have different noses for a reason, and our noses are what makes us who we are. And I know your noses can tell a lot about your ancestry and your origin and just where you came from in general, and I think that's really a beautiful thing. I think it's time that we all accept our noses for what they are, and remember that half of the time no one's even looking at your nose and no one really cares, honestly. And let's just accept noses for how big or small they are. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I do upload every single week, so I will be back next week for my next video. Bye guys.